Assalamu alaikum and Galabwanex and everybody, and a very warm welcome back to another Somali language lesson with me here at Sam of Somalia. The first thing I'd like to say is just a really big thank you to Clint Brock, who's on the Facebook page, and he asked me to make this video. He actually requested a series of videos on similarities between different languages that might have influenced or been influenced by Somali. And the first one that I wanted to talk about is English. And there's a few things to talk about before we sort of get into a little vocab list. And the first thing is that obviously there's a colonial reason why English has influenced Somali, but there's also kind of a modern reason. Like, obviously it's well known that the English were the colonizers in the north of Somalia and it was the Italians in the south. So that is maybe one of the reasons why English is so widely taught, but also English is widely taught in all countries, so it might not be specifically to do with colonialism. And that also sort of influenced the types of words that are shared with Somali. It's not that English has replaced words that were originally Somali. For a lot of things, like telephone, that's like a thing that came from England, so it would have an English name. Just like in English, we don't have a word for ma'awis. We use the Somali word ma'awis. Like, that doesn't mean that we've adopted, it doesn't mean that the English language has been, like, influenced to a huge extent by Somali, but so those are the main sort of words that we're talking about. Which is quite different when we talk about Arabic. I mean, like there are grammarians and linguists who argue that actually Arabic has influenced the very sort of fabric of the Somali language, and even verbs are conjugated in ways which are similar to Arabic. Some verbs are, and there are even Arabic influences in, you know, connectives and prepositions and other more complicated types of words in Somali. But with English influences, that's really not the case. It's just loan words that are taken from English. It's just loan words that are taken from English for English stuff. But anyway, I mean, so it's still a useful lesson. I mean, those of you who are English speakers, as I assume the majority of you are, I can already give you maybe 15 words that you've already got in the Somali language. And they're words that are obviously, you know, common words that you have with Somali. So they'll be in your vocab bank from the offset. So let's get straight into them. The first one is the word for blue, which is bulug. Bulug. The next one is book, which in Somali is boog. Boog. We also have the word in Somali for cup, which is kab. This is also shared with Arabic. The word kub exists in Arabic too and is actually in the Quran. The word kub meaning a cup, so it might not even be directly from English, it might even be from Arabic. But it's something that's shared between those two languages, so it still counts. The next we have the word for a doctor, which is just a Somali-ized version of the pronunciation, which is dakhtar. Dakhtar. Our next word is another example of something which is just an English language thing, so it would have an English name, obviously, is the word dollar, which is just dollar. Dollar. The next is the word hotel, which is hotel. And next word is the word for a library, which is library. Library. The next is a word which many of you who have travelled to or from Somalia will be familiar with, which is the word basabar. Basabar, meaning a passport. Basabar. The next is a word which in English we are familiar with, but it's much more likely that it actually originally came from Italian, and is the word for pasta, which is basta. Basta. The next is the word for cupboard, which is kabad. 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 I don't know if in some regions of Somalia maybe they prefer the Arabic word, which is dulab, which is dulab, but I know and I've seen in Somali dictionaries that the word kabad is a well-known word for cupboard in Somali. The next loan word that exists in Somali from English is the word for a shirt, which is just shadi. The next word on our list is the word for a taxi, which is just tagsi. Tagsi. The next bit of vocab on our list is the word for number, which in Somali is just number. Number. And the last word on this little vocab list, and this is a real example of, as I was saying in the beginning, like a lot of the words that have English words in Somali are the words for modern stuff. And it's not just the Somalis who do this. Like, most languages in the world, for modern appliances like radio, you know, television and stuff, they will just use the English words for them. So the last word is the word telephone. Telephone, which, I mean, means a telephone, doesn't it? I mean, I probably don't even need to explain that. Telephone, obviously meaning a telephone. So that's quite a nice just little list for any of you who are just starting out your Somali language journey and you want to know that already you have a good sort of 14 or 15 words in your Somali language bank ready to use, and those are all words that we have in English which are used on a daily basis in Somali too. Before I round off the video, let's just have one little listen through them all again just to get us used to what they sound like and what the pronunciation is like. Bulug, boog, kab, dakhtar, dollar, hotel, library, basabar, taxi, number, telephone, Thank you all very much for joining me for another Somali language lesson, and if you enjoyed this video, and I really hope you did, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the share button, and if it's your first time joining me on the channel, then don't forget to subscribe as well so you can be updated on a weekly basis with all of my new videos. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.